Welcome to my first podcast here at St. Mary's College of California, and today I'll be interviewing and talking a little bit with Morgan Gore, a semi-professional surfer originally from New Jersey, so stick around and I'll get back to you with a little bit more about her. And welcome back. Today I'll be interviewing and talking to Morgan Gore, a semi-professional surfer from New Jersey, in just a few minutes. But first I'm going to bore you a little with some history on the sport of surfing. So if I were to ask you right now to picture in your mind the most ideal surfing spot, a lot of you would picture Hawaii. It just sort of goes together. Hawaii, surfing. But while other Polynesian people were out riding the waves as well, it was the Hawaiians that really birthed the sport of surfing. Captain James Cook, an explorer from England, achieved the first European contact with the Hawaiian island chain. His ships and the crew on the Discovery and Revolution stopped on the main island of Hawaii, where he was later killed by natives for attempting to kidnap their chief. Not a smart idea. His journals, which were finished by his lieutenant, James King, contain the first written European record of surfing. So now that Hawaii is on the map, the European missionaries, adventurers, buccaneers, and other sea captains flock to these island chains. As they come here, the native culture began to diminish, and that meant that around the 1800s, surfing had been banned, and the culture of the native Hawaiians was on a decline. But those waves kept calling, and there are reports that as late as 1866, there were a handful of natives still surfing off the coast of Hawaii. In the 1900s, thanks in part to Jack London, author of Call of the Wild and White Fang, and the ease of travel from the mainland to the islands, surfing became popular once again. Unlike traditional Hawaiian surfing, however, which saw both men and women honored for their superior surfing skills, this time surfing was dominated almost solely by men. Still, pioneering women like Eva Fletcher, Anna Napoleon, Mary Ann Hawkins, Marge Calhoun, Linda Benson, and Anne Morrissey were among the first popular female surfers on the circuit. In the 1970s, Margot Godfrey became the first professional woman surfer. So that's a brief history and brush up on your surfing history. Bet you didn't know all those names, so go ahead and look them up. Wikipedia. Get on it. And when we come back, I'll tell you a little bit more about Morgan Gore, student, fashion designer, and surfer. In my time here at St. Mary's College, and that's 4 years, oh gosh, I have many friends that have come to college as ex-athletes. And by ex-athletes, I mean those who used to play sports in high school. I've known former baseball, lacrosse, field hockey, football, basketball, softball, track and field, swimming, diving, gymnastics, and those could go on forever. But very few of those friends have kept up any sort of sporting activity if they're not in a Division I or club team. In my experience, it's the most unsuspecting people. You know the type that are really quiet, relaxed, and just chill. They're the ones that always seem to be doing the most interesting after-school activities. So let me give you a background on Morgan Gore. She's a relatively young surfer from Medham, New Jersey. Having started surfing around the age of 9, she started after seeing her older brother surfing off the Long Beach Island shore in New Jersey and thought, hey, why not give it a shot? I could do that. She has competed so far in 32 competitions and has begun placing consistently in the top 5 in her division. Gore competes on a shortboard sponsored by Osiris, Monster Energy Drinks, After 11 Apparel, The Surf Shack, and Pac Sun Surf Shop, just to name a few. That's quite a feat for someone who's only 19. Morgan spoke fondly of her sponsors, especially The Surf Shack, who helped boost her into the surf scene almost 10 years ago. As one of the youngest and their only female on the team, the men looked after her by driving her to competitions and helping to make sure the other surfers on the beach took her seriously. After the slew of female surfer movies came out, i.e. Blue Crush, it was increasingly harder for anyone that was not in the surf scene to look at Morgan and take her seriously. Facing two stereotypes, being a surfer and being a female, has never really bothered Morgan. On the beach, the other surfers who don't know her see someone that they feel they can snake waves from, that's stealing waves for the surfing term challenge, or someone they can hassle out of a good position for a wave. Gore takes a lighthearted approach to the negative stereotypes and harassments. They're just jealous and intimidated that she's as good a surfer as they are. Gore, who plans to leave next week to surf in Costa Rica, finds time in her busy schedule to go surfing before, after, and sometimes both, before her classes at St. Mary's. Unlike the East Coast, California provides a warmer winter surfing season for Gore and has allowed her to gain experiences on different breaks and beaches, which has helped her competition skills overall. So we're going to take a short break right now, and when we come back, I'll tell you a little bit more about Morgan Gore, and we'll hear from her herself about some of her favorite moments out there on the waves. So welcome back once again, and I just wanted to tell you a few more interesting facts and stories about Morgan before we jump into her interview questions for us today. In 2005, Morgan registered the name After 11 Apparel, which is her own clothing line. She started the company in high school in her graphics design class. After she realized that her designs would look good on t-shirts, she started handing in shirts printed with her designs as homework and projects. How cool is that? Branching out from just her friends at school, Gore's clothing is sold on the East Coast in stores and online. After 11 Apparel sponsors brands who wear the company's shirts while performing on stage, and After 11 has plans to have a tent at the Bamboozle Music Festival for their 3rd year. An interesting memory Morgan shared with me about her semi-professional surfing days was the first time she came in at first place. After they announced the rankings and had given Morgan her trophy, the results were changed and another surfer was given the spot. It turns out that the Eastern Surfing Association, or the ESA, gave the first place spot to a surfer who, without this win, wouldn't be able to advance to the next competition and represent the ESA there. Talk about a disappointment. So I'd like to start by thanking Morgan for agreeing to do this interview, and I promise I'll keep it to 2 questions at the max. You've surfed many spots in New Jersey and in California. What are your top spots, both on the East Coast and here on the West Coast in beautiful, sunny California?
My favorite surf spot on the East Coast would be Hudson Avenue in Harvey Cedars, New Jersey. And my favorite spot on the West Coast would be Rockaway Beach in Pacifica, California.
Surfing is seen as a typically male-dominated sport in the media and on all the surfing magazines that are out there today. How do you feel about that? As a female surfer yourself, do you think this should change, or just tell me your general thoughts?
I think women surfing should be taken more seriously and be treated equally to men surfing, because in contests women get paid a fraction of what the men get paid for placing. And also going to a new beach that you haven't surfed at is hard, because the guys don't give you respect until you can actually show up and prove to them that you can surf, and it's just a bitch.
All right, and that's about all the time we have, so thank you again to Morgan Gore, our young semi-professional surfer here at St. Mary's College of California, for taking time to interview with us today. And thank you out there for listening to this podcast. I'm Rebecca Wright, and have a good night.